Welcome to the deep dive. We're going deep into some thought-provoking stuff today with this text in Arabic called M Nanu 2.
Oh, yeah.
And, it translates to who are we? Which kind of gives you a hint about what we're going to be talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Big questions about the nature of reality.
And it gets into some wild stuff like synchronicity.
Yeah.
And the limits of our senses, and even how our beliefs might actually shape the physical world.
Right. And what's really cool is that Mnanu 2 doesn't just throw these ideas out there.
Right.
It weaves together philosophy, personal stories, even scientific research.
Yeah, I was hooked right from the start with the whole synchronicity thing. Like,
Yeah.
Those weird coincidences that feel like they're more than just random chance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, have you ever thought of someone you haven't seen in years and then, bam, you run into them the next day?
Definitely. And the text uses a great example from Proust.
Oh, yeah.
Swan's Way,
Yeah.
where the taste of a Madeleine triggers this flood of memories for the narrator.
Like a sensory flashback?
Exactly. It just connects this simple sensation to this whole complex web of past experiences.
And it makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
Are these events really random, or is there something more going on, like some hidden connection?
Right. And Mnanu 2 takes it even further with this concept of non-locality. Is it possible that, everything's interconnected?
Wow.
On some level, that goes beyond our normal ideas of cause and effect.
That's trippy.
It is. And, Mnanu 2 actually connects this to quantum physics.
Oh, wow.
And the EPR paradox.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Okay, so imagine you have two particles, right?
Okay.
And they're separated by a huge distance, but they're acting like they're linked, doing their thing in sync instantly.
That's wild.
Which seems to totally defy our normal ideas about space and time.
Right.
That's the EPR paradox.
Okay, so you're blowing my mind a little bit here.
It's mind-boggling, right?
So maybe those coincidences we were talking about? Yeah.
Aren't really so coincidental after all.
Exactly.
But then if everything is interconnected in ways we don't even understand, what does that even mean for, our perception of reality?
Right. Well, Mignanu 2 uses this analogy of a focusing mirror.
Okay.
It suggests that our five senses might be limiting us. Like we're only seeing this narrow beam of light reflecting off the mirror.
So there's a whole lot more that we're just not seeing.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, right?
Yeah, it's like those optical illusions where you think you're seeing one thing,
right?
But then your perspective shifts and bam, it's something totally different.
Yeah. What if reality is like that? Just on a huge scale.
Oh, man.
Right? And, Nanu 2 brings up this guy, Peter Van Heerden, who was working at CERN.
Okay.
He was studying sound waves, but his research led to these, unexpected findings. And it hinted at the possibility of hidden dimensions in physics.
No way.
Yeah. There's this whole symphony playing around us, but we're only hearing a few notes. That's crazy. So we've got these unseen parts of reality. And I gotta ask, does Mnanu 2 say anything about whether, our thoughts or beliefs could interact with this stuff?
Oh, yeah. It gets really interesting there. It explores this concept of holism.
Holism, yeah.
Which basically says everything's interconnected. And the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Like a tapestry.
Yes. Up close, you just see threads.
Yeah.
But step back and you see this whole intricate design.
Right. So Mnanu 2 is suggesting that our limited perception is kind of like only seeing those threads.
Yeah, exactly. We might only be grasping fragments of this much larger interconnected whole.
Okay, so then what about our thoughts and beliefs?
Right.
How do they fit into this whole interconnected reality thing?
Well, it definitely suggests we might have more influence than we realize.
Really?
Think about the placebo effect.
Okay, the idea that just believing in a treatment can make you better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if the treatment itself doesn't actually do anything.
I've heard about that. It's pretty amazing.
And the text brings up this guy, Bruno Klopfer, who observed how patients' beliefs about their illnesses could actually impact their physical condition.
You're right. The placebo effect is a powerful example of how beliefs can influence our physical well-being.
Right.
But is Mnanu 2 saying that our minds could impact reality on an even bigger scale?
It dives deeper into this with the concept of psychoneuroimmunology.
Okay, what's that?
It's this whole field that explores the connections between our thoughts, emotions, and our immune system.
So our mental and emotional states could be directly affecting our physical health.
Right. It's pretty fascinating.
It makes you wonder how much control we might actually have over our health just by changing our thoughts.
Yeah.
Does the text say how far this influence could go?
Well, definitely raises more questions than it answers, which is part of what makes it so interesting.
So it's pushing us to rethink the whole mind-body connection.
Yeah, it's a real head trip.
This is all pretty mind-blowing.
I know.
So if our minds have more power than we think, what other possibilities does Mnanu 2 explore?
Okay, get ready for some seriously unconventional territory.
Bring it on.
It goes into mystical experiences and the nature of consciousness.
Oh, wow.
It even talks about things like stigmata.
Stigmata?
Yeah, those wounds that mirror the crucifixion wounds of Christ.
Like the actual physical wounds?
Yeah, the text mentions figures like St. Francis of Assisi and Padre Pio,
Whoa.
who are known for having these wounds.
I mean, it's hard to imagine something like that actually happening.
I know. And the thing is, Padre Pio's wounds were examined by doctors.
What?
Who confirmed they were real and couldn't be explained by conventional medicine.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And Mnanu 2 uses these examples to point to the mysteries of consciousness.
Okay.
And its potential influence on the physical body.
So it's not just that our minds can influence our own bodies, but that they might even defy our understanding of physical laws.
That's a wild thought, right?
Yeah. What other examples does it give to explore this?
Well, it mentions auriculotherapy.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
It's where specific points on the ear are thought to connect to different organs and systems in the body.
Interesting.
Kind of like reflexology, but for the ears.
So it's hinting at some deeper energetic connection within the body.
Exactly.
Suggesting there might be more to our physical and mental makeup than we currently understand.
It really is challenging us to expand our thinking about what's possible.
Yeah, my mind is definitely blown.
It's incredible, right? And what's really cool is that Mnanu 2 combines ancient wisdom with modern scientific thought.
You mentioned ancient wisdom earlier. Didn't it also bring up ancient Vedic texts?
Yeah, and it specifically highlights this concept of Maya, which refers to this illusion that prevents us from seeing reality as it truly is.
Oh, wow.
Like, have you ever felt stuck in a routine?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Unable to see beyond your daily grind?
Absolutely.
That could be Maya, obscuring your true potential.
So Mnanu 2 is saying we should question our perceived limitations and consider the possibility that there's much more to reality than we're currently experiencing.
Exactly. And it even goes further, suggesting we might have abilities that challenge conventional science.
Wait, really?
Yeah, like telekinesis.
Not telekinesis, like moving objects with your mind.
Exactly. It brings up Sathya Sai Baba.
The Indian guru.
Yeah, who is known for supposedly performing telekinesis.
That's some next-level stuff.
It is. Now, Mnanu 2 acknowledges that these claims are controversial.
Right.
And it mentions this researcher named Erlander Haraldsson, who investigated psychic phenomena. But it doesn't say definitively whether telekinesis is real or not.
So it's leaving it open for us to decide.
Yeah, it's more about keeping an open mind about the possibilities.
So it's not about just believing everything we hear,
No.
but acknowledging that there might be more to the universe than we currently know.
Exactly. And to kind of balance out the exploration of these extraordinary claims,
Right.
Mnanu 2 also highlights the work of Dr. O. Carl Simonton,
And who was he?
a physician who used visualization techniques with cancer patients.
So like a mind over matter approach to healing.
Exactly. He believed that positive imagery could actually influence a patient's health.
That's fascinating.
It all comes back to that idea of interconnectedness and the potential for consciousness to play a role in shaping our reality.
Man, this is really making me rethink everything.
I know. It's a lot to take in.
But it's so interesting. I'm starting to see why Mnanu 2 is so compelling.
Yeah, it's really challenging us to question what we thought we knew about reality.
And to consider that we might be part of something much bigger than ourselves.
Right.
I'm hooked. I can't wait to see what else this text has to offer.
Well, we've just scratched the surface.
But for now, we'll have to pause our deep dive.
Yeah, but don't worry, we'll be back soon to continue our exploration.
Until then, keep those minds open and stay curious.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Mnanu 2. You know, one thing that really strikes me about this text is how it just dives right into topics that a lot of people would consider like fringe science.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely not your typical book. It's like we went from quantum entanglement to mystical experiences.
Right.
And then, bam, telekinesis.
Exactly.
But Mnanu 2 seems to be encouraging us to like question everything and consider possibilities that might seem a little out there at first.
Yeah, it's all about being open-minded and acknowledging that our current scientific knowledge is always evolving.
Right. There's still so much we don't know.
Absolutely.
Earlier, we were talking about the connections between ancient wisdom and modern science. I'd love to dig into that a bit more. Manunu 2 seems to draw some interesting parallels between ancient mystical traditions and the discoveries of quantum physics.
It's really fascinating how these ancient systems of knowledge,
Yeah.
the ones that explored reality through introspection and meditation,
Yeah.
seem to resonate with what modern physics is finding.
It's like they were onto something all those centuries ago.
Right. And Mananu 2 highlights the concept of Maya from the Vedic texts.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that before, the illusion that clouds our perception of reality.
Right. Could Maya be seen as like a filter that prevents us from seeing the deeper reality that quantum physics is hinting at?
Whoa, that's a really interesting way to think about it.
It's like both ancient wisdom and modern science are pointing towards a reality that's way more complex and interconnected than we can currently grasp.
And that our limited senses and ways of thinking are only scratching the surface.
Exactly.
It's like we're putting together this giant cosmic puzzle, and we're using pieces from both ancient traditions and cutting-edge science to get a clearer picture.
I like that analogy.
Inanna 2 also goes pretty deep into the whole idea of human consciousness, right?
Yeah.
It suggests that we're not just watching reality unfold, but we're actively participating in shaping it.
That's one of the most challenging and intriguing ideas in the text.
It's a pretty powerful concept.
It is.
So instead of just observing reality, we're actually co-creating it.
It's a possibility, right?
Yeah.
And then Nanu 2 gives us these examples like the placebo effect,
Yeah.
the potential for visualization to influence healing, and even accounts of telekinesis.
Right. It's like it's saying our minds might play a much more active role in shaping the world around us than we think.
Yeah, it's really pushing the boundaries of what we consider possible.
Which brings up a big question for me.
Yeah.
If we really do have this potential to influence reality with our thoughts and beliefs, how should we approach our everyday lives?
Right. How do we act if we acknowledge this possibility?
That's something Mananu 2 really encourages us to think about.
Yeah, it's suggesting we need to be more mindful of our thoughts and beliefs because they could have a real impact on our experiences.
So it's not about, just wishing our problems away?
No, not at all.
Or manifesting whatever we want just by thinking about it?
It's more about recognizing the potential power of our thoughts and intentions.
Okay.
And choosing to use them wisely.
So it's a more nuanced approach.
Right. That Nanu 2 doesn't give us like a step-by-step guide or anything. But it's encouraging a shift in perspective, recognizing that we might be more powerful than we realize.
And that our inner world is more connected to our outer world than we typically assume.
Exactly.
I'm really starting to see how all of this ties together. The idea of Maya, the interconnectedness from quantum physics, the power of the mind.
Yeah, it all points to a deeper understanding of our role in shaping reality.
But I gotta be honest, some of the stuff in Mananu is kind of hard to wrap my head around.
I get that. It's a lot to take in.
It's like I'm trying to balance being open-minded with a healthy dose of skepticism.
It's a good approach to have. And Nalanu 2 actually talks about the potential dangers of exploring these unconventional ideas.
Oh, really?
It emphasizes the importance of discernment and being careful about blindly accepting everything we hear or read.
So it's like a warning label handle with care.
Yeah, in a sense.
Yeah.
Because not every claim of extraordinary abilities or mystical experiences is genuine.
That's a good point.
It's reminding us that this kind of exploration requires maturity, discernment, and a willingness to question our own assumptions.
Right. It's not just about blindly accepting everything we come across.
Exactly. And it highlights the importance of being ethical and seeking knowledge for the right reasons.
So using this knowledge to benefit ourselves and humanity.
Right. It's a reminder that knowledge, especially knowledge that challenges our understanding of the world, comes with responsibility.
We need to be mindful of how we use it and the potential consequences for ourselves and others.
Absolutely. It's about approaching these topics with humility, recognizing that we don't have all the answers, and that our understanding of reality is always changing.
We need to be open to new discoveries, but also stay grounded in a sense of responsibility.
Exactly.
This has been quite a journey so far.
It has. We've covered so much ground.
But it feels like we've only just started to explore the depths of Ninnanutu.
There's always more to uncover.
Well, unfortunately, we have to pause our deep dive for now.
But don't worry, we'll be back soon for the final part of our exploration of Ninnanutu.
Until then, keep those minds open. Stay curious and remember to approach these concepts with both wonder and a healthy dose of skepticism. Wow, this text has really taken us on a journey. I mean, it's like Ninnanutu has made me question everything I thought I knew about reality.
It's been quite the exploration. We've covered philosophy, mysticism, quantum physics, Even the idea that our consciousness could shape the world around us. It's a lot to take in.
It really is. Nanu 2 doesn't shy away from those big questions, does it?
Not at all. And I think one of the most fundamental ones it tackles is the nature of reality itself.
Yeah, like what is real? How do we even know what we know? It's like every answer just leads to more questions.
And that's the beauty of it. Nanu 2 challenges those assumptions we have about what's real and suggests that there's so much more to the universe than we can see.
Right. It's like it's urging us to look beyond our senses and our typical ways of thinking.
Exactly. It's like we're living in a virtual reality simulation, and Nanu 2 is giving us a peek behind the curtain.
I like that analogy.
The text points out that how we perceive reality is shaped by so many things. Our senses, our beliefs, our culture. It's like we're all wearing these special glasses that filter how we see the world.
And Nanu 2 is encouraging us to try on different glasses to see things from different perspectives.
Yes, to question the limits of our own worldview.
So it's not just about questioning what we see, but how we see it.
Exactly. It's about becoming aware of those filters we're using to interpret reality and realizing that there might be other ways of seeing things that are just as valid.
Okay, so we're not just questioning what we see, but how we see. It's about being aware of our own filters.
Right. And Nando 2 suggests that by being aware of how we construct our reality, we can actually expand our perception and open ourselves up to more possibilities.
It's like upgrading to a whole new operating system for experiencing reality.
Exactly.
You know, it makes me think about belief. We talked about the placebo effect and how our thoughts and beliefs can influence our health. Does Nanu 2 take it even further and suggest that belief can shape reality itself?
That's where it gets really interesting. While the text doesn't claim to have all the answers, it definitely makes a strong argument for considering that our beliefs might have a bigger impact on the world than we think.
So it's not just about positive thinking, but a deeper connection between our inner and outer worlds.
Right. It's about recognizing that the line between those two might be more blurry than we realize.
Like those experiments where they found that just observing something can change the outcome.
Exactly. It's mind-blowing, right?
Totally. So we have to acknowledge that our thoughts, beliefs, and intentions could be interacting with reality in ways we don't fully understand.
It's a huge shift in perspective.
This whole conversation is making me rethink the power of my own thoughts. It's a lot of responsibility.
It is.
Yeah.
And Nanu 2 emphasizes the importance of being mindful of our inner world.
Yeah, if our beliefs can have that much impact, it makes you wonder about the possibility of creating change on a larger scale.
That's a big question, and one that Nanu 2 definitely wants us to think about. It reminds us that we're not just passive bystanders in the world, we're actively creating it.
Wow, that's both empowering and a little scary.
I know, right?
This deep dive has been amazing. It's really opened my mind. What would you say is the most important thing you've taken away from Nanu 2?
I think it's the idea of embracing uncertainty. The text encourages us to let go of the need to know everything for sure and to be open to the mystery of existence.
It's like the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know.
Exactly. Nanu 2 is a reminder that there's always more to explore, more to question, and more to experience.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It sounds like a call to live with a sense of wonder, to embrace what we don't know and keep seeking a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe.
That's the heart of it.
Well said. What a perfect way to wrap up our exploration of Nanu 2. If our listeners could take away just one thing from this deep dive, what would you want it to be?
Remember that reality isn't fixed. It's a fluid, dynamic thing made up of perception, belief, and experience. We all have the power to shape our own reality by expanding our awareness, questioning our assumptions, and embracing the endless possibilities that exist beyond our ordinary perception.
That's a powerful message. Thank you so much for guiding us through this fascinating journey. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on the world.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Nanu 2. We hope it's inspired you to question, explore, and expand your own understanding of reality. Until next time, keep those minds open and keep diving deep.